Good morning, everyone. I was born in Jamaica and lived in Kingston. In my early years, my older brother and I were raised by my uncle, as our dad died when I was 2 years old and our mother had migrated to the States. As a result of this, we found ourselves being shared between two households, as during the summer holidays, my brother and I would spend time with my aunt in the country, and we would be back in the town to resume school when the holiday breaks were over. Living with my uncle was great. And even though he was around 70, it was quite obvious by his action that he loved us very much. I was also, in my eyes, my uncle's favorite, and that made me quite secure. He was not very religious, but he made sure that we attended a Christian school and prayed nightly before going to bed. As this would soon change, as my uncle developed Parkinson and could no longer take care of us, the disease eventually worsened and resulted in his death. I was around 13 when I relocated to my aunt in the country. Things began to take a downhill turn. I was battling fits of rage, impurities, deceit, and selfishness. Even though I had attended church with my aunt during the summer holidays when I visited prior, I never saw Christianity as a cool thing. I remember thinking that being a Christian did not appear an attractive way of life, especially based on the examples that were around me. It was obvious that I was struggling, but was unaware of how to change. Soon thereafter, my aunt became ill and could no longer work, and that added more frustration. As things around us got worse financially and emotionally, my relationship with my family started breaking down. I felt like I needed some independence. But how could I escape? I remember thinking that my only option would be to do well in school, as I wanted to go to college in Kingston. University of Technology was my goal, but that would be a challenge as I was not doing well in school and had consistently hung out with friends that were not great examples. I followed my friends in being idle, skipping school, cursing, and coarse joking. But my back was against the wall. I felt I had no one to turn to. Out of desperation, I found myself reading a New Testament Gideon Bible and praying for God to help. I went as far as looking up scriptures on perseverance and self-endurance. I would attend church more frequently, but was in no way committed to God. I did not want to be regarded as a weirdo. I started to make changes in school and the friends I kept. I promised God that success in my exams would mean, I promised that success in my exam would mean giving my life to Him. This worked, as my final exams came back with successful results. I felt relieved as I left my aunt's home and started college. I somehow thought that being in college would alleviate the emptiness and lack of direction that I felt. But that was far from the truth. I had gotten baptized, but had not changed my sinful tendencies, such as fits of rage, lust, impurity, being deceitful, and selfishness. I remember sitting one day under a tree on campus, studying, when a guy approached me and introduced himself as Andrew and invited me to the Bible study. Being confident of the knowledge I had attained in the past and considering myself as a Christian, I agreed. Andrew extended an invite to church also, as he came to pick me up that Sunday. I couldn't help feeling very impressed by his efforts to ensure that I would be at church. As I arrived at the National Arena, I noticed there was a huge gathering of people who were engaged in melodious singing and clapping as they worshiped. As this was unusual for me, I remember the lesson that was preached by the late Damien John Baptiste. It was called the minimum requirement attitude. It was a call to give God our very best, not leftovers. I was very challenged. I had become religious and self-centered and had not given God my best. It was no surprise that having been asked to study the Bible after the church service, I agreed. Challenged by scriptures such as John 8:31-32, holding to Jesus' teaching versus having an intellectual belief. The studies continued for 3 days, and October 9th, 1995, I was baptized. 28 years ago. I'm grateful that God opened my heart and eyes to his words. As a Christian, I now recognize God's power in my life to fight sin. I have now a new purpose. God has blessed my life with many treasures. Friends I can call brothers, sisters, mothers, and fathers. I've been blessed with one of his beloved daughter, Maxine, and through God's grace have been able to celebrate 24 years of marriage. While life continues to throw curveballs, I'm a part of a spiritual family that is committed to loving God and each other according to the Bible. Thank you.